All right, welcome back. Now, with about 15 months in power, the Nigerian government says it is ready to put a final seal of zero tolerance for corruption, with the reopening of corruption cases considered to be high profile. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, recently met with agencies now with prosecutorial powers and requested the case files of such high-profile cases. He expressed government's readiness to pursue corruption cases against notable politicians, which has been pending for years. The agencies to produce the case files include the Nigerian Police Force, the Department of State Services, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, and the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Now, the AGF says requesting the case files has become necessary to determine which of them falls within the category of cases to be taken over by the National Prosecution Coordination Committee. Now, investigations show that not less than 30 former governors who were investigated by different anti-graft agencies are to be prosecuted. The Attorney General of the Federation, in another letter addressed to the chairman of the ICPC, charged the body to get ready to commence prosecution of the cases it had investigated in the past. Now, that letter partly reads, quote, "It is clear that some of these governors and other politically exposed persons have been charged to court, despite the fact that the ICPC have not been charged to court, despite the fact that the ICPC has concluded their investigations concerning allegations leveled against them for one reason or the other. It is the position of the present administration that all ex-governors who the ICPC had long concluded investigations into the various allegations leveled against them should be immediately prosecuted." End of quote. Now, the list of former governors in the letter include Bukola Saraki, a former governor of Kwara State and, of course, the current Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, the former governor of Akwa Ibom State and current minority leader in the Senate, Modu Sharif, the former governor of Borno State and factional chairman of the PDP. There's also Ojuz Okalu, the former governor of Abia State, Chimaroke Namani, former governor of Enugu State, Saminu Turaki, former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, also a former governor of Jigawa State, Joshua Dariye, former governor of Plateau State, Ahmed Yerima, a former governor of Zamfara State, who is also a senator, Gabriel Suswan, the former governor of Benue State, Martin Elechi, the former governor of Ebonyi State, Danjuma Goje, the former governor of Gombe State, and Murtala Nyako, the former governor of Adamawa State. Others are Ikedio Hakim, a former governor of Imo State, Obong Victor Atta, a former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Achike Udenwa, former governor of Imo State, Abdullahi Adamu, former governor of Nasarawa State, Benga Daniel, former governor of Ogun State, Jolly Nyame, former governor of Taraba State, Boni Haruna, former governor of Adamawa State, George Akume, former governor of Benue State, Rashidi Ladoja, former governor of Oyo State, Atahiru Bafara, former governor of Sokoto State, and Adebayo Alao Akala, a former governor of Oyo State. Now, rounding up the list are Usman Dakingeri, the former governor of Kebbi State, Adamu Muazu, former governor of Bauchi State, Peter Odili, the former governor of Rivers State, and Lucky Igbinedion, the former governor of Edo State. Now, this will certainly be a tough call for this government, and I wonder if the Attorney General of the Federation is not biting more than he can chew. I still have Mr. Onyeka Chirubani and Mr. Janaku in the studio. Let me start with you, Mr. Janaku. To be candid, you don't think this Attorney General and the government would be biting more than it can chew when you look at that list?
Well, excuse me.
And what were we doing all this while? Why did this case, why did all this case now last till... You're looking at the Constitution.
No, the list, I want to just bring out something. The list is endless and quite intimidating. When you look at these people mentioned, former governors, and you realize that in fact and indeed, these people have the wherewithal to stand the trial at any point in time. They are not in jail, they are still walking free, except for the last one, Lucky Igbinedion, who is in jail in Britain. But then...
No. Governor, that's
Ibori. I'm sorry, James Ibori.
Igbinedion, I think he got a plea bargain some time ago.
Yes, he did. Federal courts have also. But I want to say that by section 174 of the Constitution, by virtue of that section, the Attorney General, the Federal Attorney General, has certain powers. He can, among some other things, yes, initiate prosecution, institute, undertake criminal proceeding against any person. Whether now or data has been started, it could take over. It could also even stop by entering the nolle prosequi in respect of such matters. But now, this is an Attorney General, a son, who has decided within the powers that he has to ensure that people who were supposed to have been prosecuted or matters that ought to have gone ahead in courts are just lying there.
But I'm just wondering if this wouldn't be too much work for that National Prosecution Coordination Committee.
What I need to tell you is this: we need to start somewhere. We have the human resources. We need to even build more to ensure that we have the capabilities of being able to prosecute these people. They have the money to ensure that these matters do not go on. But then, by virtue of what is being done currently, we know that there is a new vitality in the system, particularly with the Attorney General's office. The chambers is ready to prosecute. Let us start. They have all the evidence to prosecute. They have the paper, they have the exhibits to prosecute. Over time, these things have been
according to the Attorney General, investigations have been concluded.
We have matters that have been investigated and concluded investigation. Why should we not charge to court? This is the time to do so.
If we couldn't do it in the past, so what is different now? How are we sure that we're going to do this? Because some of these individuals mentioned, if not all of them, as a matter of fact, at some point in time, were actually charged to court, and some of them have their cases still in court, and those cases have been in court in some cases for over 4 years.
I am in support of.
It's quite an intimidating. I mean,
I am in support of fight against corruption. I am in support of prosecution against corrupt, cases, but I'm against persecution. And also, it's important that we ensure that the evidences are there against those people who have mentioned, not that we're digging for evidence. Because I understand that in one of the state governors, the former state governors, what they are doing now is that they're asking the banks to go and bring all the previous checks that the man has signed and all that, giving you the doubt whether they have actually completed their investigation. If the Attorney General is very serious about having completed investigation, are they sure they have evidence against these people? Because one thing is to call all these high-profile former governors up and then mention their names and probably paint them in the eyes of Nigerians that all of them are guilty, these are the criminals and all that. I wouldn't want all that, because it is in the court of law. The pronouncements.
No, I mean their names have been out.
Yes,
anyway.
out already.
I mean,
so if you don't,
long before
beautiful.
Now, even before this
so it's important you get your facts and get your evidence, right, in order to convict them.
Well,
so if you don't do that, you are creating so much doubt.
My question is, even when they have their facts and evidence and everything, I'm just thinking of the challenge of prosecuting 30 former governors.
No, there's not
the courts. You don't fear that the courts will get inundated?
There is a new bill. I don't know whether you're aware of a new bill.
The Administration of Criminal Justice Act.
A new bill that is being touted or even already prepared, special court. There's going to be a special court that have to deal with corruption cases and some of the specialized crimes. I don't know whether you're aware.
Okay, that's quite true.
And that is coming up.
So the idea is that maybe some of these cases, these cases will be pushed to that court.
And some of us, we have already, initially opposed special court. And our argument was, is it not the same set of, Nigerian judges that actually sit? Are they going to import them from the Mars or from Jupiter? But I tell you, with what is going on, with what corruption has actually done to the nation, I think it's a high time we also insist on having special court. But as I said earlier, I am talking about prosecution. I am against persecution. I'm against it. It's important. And so that we don't, paint our name, our image as a nation.
There's no question. I mean, that issue will always come up. The issue of persecution, it would always come up when you're when you're prosecuting corruption cases. But the fact is that if people think they're innocent, they should just go and defend themselves. And you take a look at that list anyway. I mean, the governors there, the former governors, they cut across the two major political parties. So
like
we
which one now? Which one is a?
No, there are quite a number who are in the APC.
They look like only PDP members.
That is not correct.
No,
that is not correct. Murtala Nyako is of the
APC.
Danjuma Goje is in the APC.
Nyako was that PC? Okay.
Nyako is still APC. Anyway, but let's not go there. Fact is, I don't want us to narrow this down to PDP versus...
Because that accusation will come.
No, but
no, that's the point. The accusation will come.
If that is the way people think, we should not be lending...
No, but we should also guide, against it. We must also guide against it.
I really don't want us to go there.
His question is vital.
But I don't want us to go there.
No, but it's important, DEJI. It's important because it will come up. It will come up,
But that is not the way it's going.
You know why? Because when we discuss this thing, we lose... When we narrow this discussion to APC...
No. We are not narrowing it down.
We'll narrow it.
We lose the substance.
I am with the masses. I hear their voice, and I also want to reflect their voice. If it is only one-sided, they will complain, and they will say
that's why,
and it's important.
That's why we are here to let people know that indeed this thing is not political.
Yes, exactly.
In any way.
That is what we should let people know.
Exactly. If you have
and those figures are there. If those figures are there, and it's a mixture of all the political parties. To me, that satisfies me.
That's all
I need.
That's what it is. It's a mixture. But what I'm saying is,
if you have been investigated and found to be wanting, then you are bound with evidence before the court to be prosecuted.
And in any case, you know why? The reason why I get so uncomfortable with this issue of whether it's a mixture or it's just one side or not one-sided, we're failing to ask ourselves whether, if indeed some of the allegations leveled against this individual, I think what we should be asking is, these allegations, are they true? Can they stand? Are these people...
No, you can't say an allegation is true at this point in time. They have been found, they have been investigated and indicted by the report.
DEJI, you are the one hosting this program. Now, can we also express our opinion?
Yeah, of course.
I agree with you that question must be asked. Are these guys, are they culpable? Very, very important. But it's also important you also go the other way. Can only one political party people be culpable all the time? Are they all innocent? You must also ask all the questions. So you balance it up. I'm telling you. So if other persons are also guilty or culpable, they must also come in. And that's why you balance it up.
I understand you very well. But what I'm saying is, if we continue to go this way, we will get to a level. I mean, and we're beginning to see that where some people will say, oh, you're prosecuting only this particular ethnic group, as if corruption has
it should not be so.
An ethnic face or
that is not the way it is.
That's not the way.
That shouldn't be the way. That shouldn't be the way. That should not be the way. That should not be the way.
That is not
the way it is.
That is not the way it is.
I don't know. That's why I asked
that is not the way it should be seen.
I don't think that's beautiful.
It should not be seen that way. It should not be seen like that.
Beautiful. It's important we iron this thing out.
If it cuts across all strata of every segment of this country, then everybody who is involved, who have been indicted, must be prosecuted.
I love that argument. It's important.
That's it, because I get so uncomfortable when I say...
No, don't get uncomfortable.
That's why
I will not be uncomfortable.
It's okay, but let's...
Because I don't belong to anybody. I'm Nigerian.
I understand you, but I understand you. I understand. But really, I mean, what then would you say about... Because we know some of these governors, a particular case... like the case of the former governor of Rivers State, whom we are told has a perpetual injunction.
But the injunction can be.
I mean, and now you want to. Okay, so what is going to happen in that case?
They will bring an appeal against that, and then probably.
But there's a process already.
Oh, there's a process.
There's a process already that I know of.
Okay,
to ensure that the injunction granted. There's even a query in respect of
that perpetual injunction. Yes. Is the judge still in service?
I think there is a query for the injunction being granted in the first place. How can you grant a perpetual injunction
against a security agency
in a criminal matter?
That is what actually
perpetual injunction. Never you try this man again.
A judge.
Never you go arrest to try to prosecute. Have you ever had that? When it offends one's sensibility to hear that a certain judge will give an order never to prosecute someone who has been indicted, someone who has been found to have misappropriated funds, the state's money. Is that done?
And there's something I also want us to get straight here. I mean, you look at all these cases, these former governors.
Yes.
these cases actually these cases predate the current government.
I agree.
And most of these governors,
are in the house.
their cases came up when the PDP government was in place.
Good.
Right.
And most of them were actually in the PDP at the time,
That's
even though some have actually crossed over to the
Now-
APC. So,
Now you will go back to what Ubani said in the first place.
Exactly,
That, look, we need to be careful because
Yeah.
it will be seen that, well,
No.
this thing is a political thing.
I'm just
That's
saying,
the way it will seem
don't
to
you
me.
understand? Don't you understand?
I do.
What I'm trying to say is that
the political
these
party
cases,
power then did not.
No,
Did
what I'm
not.
saying, that's it. So what I'm saying is
They had no
these
will
cases
to
actually,
prosecute.
these cases actually predate the guy. And let's face
Exactly.
it, all these cases are in court. It's not as if they are not in court.
Yes.
I mean, we know most of them have actually been charged to court. It's just
But
that
some
the
have
cases-
not been charged at all.
Most
some,
of them.
Yeah, most of them, but some have not been
I mean,
charged.
we know people like Odili, for instance. We know people like
Ojus Okano and all that.
Ojus Okalo and that Joshua Darie, Danjuma
Even
Goje,
Suswani,
Suswan.
yes, there.
You know,
Yes,
I would say maybe like 80%, if not 90% of the cases. In any case, let's just leave the issue of the politics out of it.
Okay.
The politics out of it. What I'm actually concerned, you are lawyers, you don't think this will be too difficult?
No,
You don't think this will be too challenging? You don't think even if at all we're setting up that special court, that special court will be inundated because we're still going to have some other corruption cases come up?
Yeah, you see, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, is now in existence. I think that law was passed in 2015, which has actually made some innovations, that facilitate the entire process. The trial process now must be, day by day. And some of the innovations introduced also, you are not allowed now to bring appeal on against interlocutory, decisions of the court. You allow the entire process now to be completed. Yes. So you now appeal both on interlocutory and the substantive, matter. So that again has been taken care of by the law. So I think we are getting there. But we need to perfect the system, actually, and our institutions must be very, very strong. Now, they have employed some number of lawyers that will actually prosecute these cases. Now, if you have special court to try this case with the new law that has been in existence and all that, I don't see it as a big work that cannot be. And then the evidence is very key. And as I keep on saying it, do they have the evidence against these people? Because one thing is to allege. In criminal trial,
it's a different thing to
beyond reasonable doubt.
Yes.
You know what these governors will tell you, that most of the allegations against them are things that were properly appropriated. If it is passed by the State Assembly, for them to spend those laws is a legitimate way in Nigeria of business. So it is difficult for you. I don't know. Well, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not being employed. But what I tell you, what I tell you is going to be. Let them. He knows what I'm talking about. So when these things are legitimate,
I think you probably have given their lawyers.
Because they may come up with those issues.
He's not going there.
Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program, and thank you very much for your contributions.
Thank you.
Well, we just want Nigeria to get better.
No, honestly, that's been our desire, and it's going to get better. It's getting better.
That things get better. Thank you very much for coming on the program. All right, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be discussing something else. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ, if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.